everybody. Welcome to Join Hands with Heaven on Blue Tap. This is my Voices show. So thank you guys, everybody, for joining us tonight. So this is my Voices show, my interview show, where I bring on Christian influencers of all different kinds and give them a voice on this channel so that we can hear about what God's doing in their life, the messages that God has given them. And it's been so wonderful. And so I'm so glad to for all of you who are tuning in tonight for our show tonight. It's going to be really, really awesome. So I am live streaming simultaneously on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, on Instagram, and Rumble. So if you're on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, you can say hello in the chat room or in the comments. So please say hello. Please let us know where you're from. Let us know you're watching. And during the show, please feel free to jump in and leave comments and questions for our guest tonight. And so speaking of our guest, I am so excited to introduce you to Amanda Wilcox, is the Uncensored Nurse. Let me tell you a little bit about her before I bring her on. The Uncensored Nurse. Hold on one second. There we go. There she is. All right. So Amanda Wilcox is the Uncensored Nurse. Now, she was a nurse until 2019 after becoming more and more disillusioned with the corporate medical world. As you can imagine, she decided to throw all that away and do her own thing. And so she has started her own business. And so she is a health coach, 7-figure mentor, business mentor. And she's also a co-founder of the Break Free Project that helps families reclaim their health, their homes, their freedom. And she's going to be telling you all about that tonight. So I've been friends with Amanda on Facebook for a little over a year, and I have just really, really enjoyed following her. She is a wealth of knowledge. She is a health guru, in my opinion, and she's just as spunky. I just love this lady. I think you're going to love her too. So without further ado, let me bring Amanda onto the show. And there she is.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Welcome. I'm good. I'm so glad to have you on tonight.
I'm so glad to be here.
All right. So what did I leave out in my introduction? What else do we need to know about Amanda Wilcox in order to get this show started?
Oh, there's so much. Every time I think about this, I'm like, where should I start? At the very beginning and the middle? Like, where's the place to begin? So I feel like I always lead with the fact that I'm a nurse. I think because I just ended up branding myself the Uncensored Nurse because I started talking about all the things that a lot of people weren't talking about online. And for whatever reason, please Jesus, keep making this be true. I never got reprimanded, slapped on the hand, thrown in Facebook jail, had my accounts taken down. I just had more and more and more followers.
Wow.
And my best friend she's on her 3rd Facebook. We are no strangers to Facebook jail and things getting shut down. But I was like, I'm the Uncensored Nurse. Like, I can say whatever I want. And I just keep getting more eyeballs on my stuff. So I guess that means that I need to keep talking about it.
And so let me break in just a minute so people understand. So this was back in the Uncensored Nurse started in 2019, correct? So you went through, you're talking about all through 2020 and that whole time period when they were really cracking down. And you were talking about like the vaccine and all of that stuff, like telling the truth about stuff. So, and I didn't realize that you never got put in social media jail. That's incredible.
I did once. I got a 30-day sentence. I couldn't go live and I couldn't post in groups or something, but I never, you know how sometimes you go on Facebook jail and you can't use your Facebook for the whole amount. So that wasn't it. I just couldn't go live, which I wasn't going live anyway. And I couldn't post in groups. And it was from a Hunter Biden meme that I posted 3 years ago that they finally caught up with me about.
Of all the things.
I was like, of all the things I've talked about, that's the one.
Goodness.
Okay.
That's crazy. Yeah. Well, it seems like things are really changing now, like especially on Facebook. I saw the post that you did, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and you're like, let's test out this new freedom of speech thing that Mark Zuckerberg is talking about. And it had this long thing of all of the conspiracy theories, and well, it's still up there. So I guess you.
It's still up, and it's up on Instagram too. So we might be onto something.
All right. So what else do you want to tell us to get started?
So I come from a long line of nurses. My mom's a nurse. She's a nurse practitioner now, but she was, I watched her go through RN school. Her twin sister's a pharmacist. All of my cousins are nurses. My aunt, like I come from a medical background. So much so that when I was younger, when I was in high school, starting to figure out what I wanted to do for a living, I was like anything but healthcare. Like literally that I didn't want anything to do with healthcare because I just wanted to be different. I didn't want to follow in the same path. Not that it's not a noble profession, but I was like, I just want to do something different. So I spent a year in college and had no idea what I wanted to do, changed my major 3 times. And then I like went back home with my tail between my legs. And I was like, okay, I'll go to nursing school. Can I live with you? Because at that time, this was 2005, roughly. I knew what it entailed. I knew that I could go to school, get an associate's degree for relatively inexpensive, and be guaranteed a job when I got out. So I was like, no brainer. All right, I'll do it. So then I was in healthcare and I did I was trying to find my niche that I liked in healthcare. So I did med surg, I did orthopedics, I did ER, home care, travel, management, like I did everything. And it turned out that I just didn't like healthcare. That's what I came to figure out after going through all of those things. So the switch into being the uncensored nurse that I am now is I was living in upstate New York and I was the director of an assisted living facility. I thought that would be the best job ever. It was the most stressful job that I ever had. Because I wasn't just responsible for patients, I was responsible for staff and scheduling and management on top of everything else.
Wow.
But when I was there, 170 nurses were fired from Albany Med in July of 2019 for refusing the flu shot.
Oh.
So my wheels started turning because I was not educated on vaccines the way that I am now.
Right.
I didn't know a lot of what I know now, but back then I just knew I didn't get the flu shot.
Wow.
I just never did. And I was like, I need to figure something out so that if this comes an hour and a half west and hits my county and this happens, I need to be able to put food on the table and keep a roof over my family's head if I lose my job. Because before COVID, I was on I will quit my job before you make me put something in my body. That's where I was prior to 2020.
So you were already there and already starting to get suspicious about the jab stuff. Okay.
Yes. So
wow.
I was like, I need a way out. So I started building this online business, and then it's by the grace of God, I left nursing in the end of December 2019.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Because everything just exploded at the beginning of 2020. That's when it all hit. It
was. And there was whispers. I actually think that my assisted living facility, I think that they all had COVID in October.
Yeah.
Looking back upon the symptoms, because everybody was sick, everybody had a cough, everybody was flu negative. No, like nobody could figure out what it was. Yeah. But then I left, so I don't know I don't know the end of that story. I don't know what happened. But it was just one of those things where I was like, I need out of this system. Yeah. And the seed was planted when I was doing home care. I took care of this patient who, when I worked in this home infusion position, the main patient population that we had was cancer patients who they had this particular type of chemotherapy where they would go to the doctor's office and they would get this big bolus dose. I can never pronounce the name, but we called it 5FU was the name of this drug. And they would get this big bolus dose in the office, and then we would go to the office and they would get disconnected from their bolus dose, and then we would hook them up to like a little pump that would slowly infuse over 46 hours. So that was, and then we would monitor them and make sure that they could either, we would go take their port out for them, or we would teach them how to do it. And this is how messed up the medical system is. We had anybody that fell on a weekend, we adamantly tried to get them to learn how to disconnect their ports by themselves because we didn't have staff. And I mean, it's not that difficult, but you shouldn't like force people to learn something that they don't want to learn. But I went to this lady's house and she had one dose of this. And I was like, you know, it's pretty, she was younger. I was like, it's really not that hard. Like, you flush it out and pull out the needle and then you're done. And she goes, I'm not learning how to do this. So I was trying to have that conversation with her delicately. And she goes, no, I don't care about the needle. I'm not doing this because I'm never having this therapy again. I'm not going back for more treatment. And I was like, tell me more about this. I have questions. So I ended up, it should have been like a 20-minute appointment. And I ended up being at her house for like an hour and a half because she started telling me, she goes, you know, I don't think that this chemo is going to work. And I found this holistic doctor in Mexico, and he told me to fast and completely change everything that I'm eating. And I was like, you sound psycho, but tell me more. Because I was so indoctrinated like, you have cancer, you get chemo. Like that's how I grew up. So I was very interested. I'm like, tell me more. What are all these things? So she told me all of this stuff, and she was going to go to Mexico and see this doctor, but she was going to fast and then only like a juice cleanse or something. And she told me about the series, The Truth About Cancer. And it was a YouTube series, a bunch of doctors, and they started, I went home and I locked myself in my office and I started watching these videos, and I will never forget, it was football season. My husband's watching football, and he comes into my office. He's like, what is wrong with you? Why are you crying? I was like a heap on the floor because I was watching all of this, and I literally in my soul, I knew, I'm like, I'm killing people. These people have no chance. I learned about the statistics of being in remission and being cured of cancer. And they said, if you this like threw me over the edge. And this was really when I knew, this was probably 2015. I don't know if I had my daughter or not yet. 2015, 2014, somewhere in there. That Truth About Cancer. It might still be on YouTube. They remove all sorts of things, so I'm not sure.
Right. I wrote it down. I'm going to look for it.
If I find it, I'll dig for it and send you the link. But I remember them saying that statistically, you are considered cured of cancer if you are in remission for 5 years. But if your cancer comes back on year 6, day 2, and you die, statistically, you're still cured of cancer.
I don't understand that.
That was me. I'm like, this math is not mathing for me. I have a lot of questions. So then I started really, I'm like, I can't.
So they say that to skew the statistics, right? So that it looks like the treatment works, but it doesn't. Okay. So that's
how I interpreted it.
Yeah. I can't figure out any other reason. Wow.
Any other reason. And I didn't even know how corrupt the medical system and the science studies and pharma, and I had no idea back then. I just was like, wait a minute. Yeah. Wait a minute. This doesn't make any sense. So that was really when I was like, I don't know if I can do this for the rest of my life, but also it's all I've done. I have an associate's degree in nursing. That's my education. So, and I didn't want to go back to school. So I just thought, well, I'll figure it out. I don't know. And I also, this is another conversation. I did not know God back then.
Yeah.
I just was like, I guess I just have to forget that I learned this so that I can go to work. I don't know what else to do.
Right.
And I was kind of distraught about it, but then I had to pick myself up and be like, well, I don't know. Okay. I mean, this, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Quit and go work at Walmart? I don't know. I just was so baffled by it. So
Yeah.
I had that in the back of my head. And then the whole flu shot thing came around.
Yeah.
And then my daughter was injured by her well visits, but I didn't know it right away. It was like a looking back on
Wow.
pictures and the record
Yeah.
and like retrospect looking. And I was like, wait a second.
So were you able to tell us any more details about your daughter getting
Oh, yeah.
injured? Was it a vax injury?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it was the MMR.
Okay.
Based on my sleuthing. So she was born. I also think that she had, I think that the Hep B at birth also caused a problem.
Yeah.
But I did not like connect these dots until she was 3.5.
Okay. Wow.
So the damage had been done.
Yeah.
But when she was born on a Sunday night. So it's weekend staff. It was an on-call doctor who was from the practice that I left. So that was irritating to me, but he was the guy that was on call. And when she was born, she had a little facial droop, a little bit. And then it got worse when she cried. And they noticed it, and they had neuro look at her, and they basically said, because of the way that her face was smashed into the placenta for so long, that she had a little bit of nerve damage. And as long as it didn't cause a problem with her latching and eating, then it was fine. And that made sense to me as a, I was at that point in my life, I was on the page of, I'm a nurse, and if you don't follow the schedule for your kids, you're dumb.
Yeah.
That's just where I was at in my life. So I followed everything because that's what I was taught to do, and I trusted the medical system. And so I just kind of went with it. Then I started noticing, once I started looking back at pictures, I noticed that every time she went in for a well visit and had her scheduled immunizations, the droop came back. Wow. Yeah. And it was really pronounced. Yeah. And then it would get better, and it would only be pronounced when she cried. And then I'm like, it's my first kid. I have like 4 million pictures of her on my phone. So I'm scouring back, and I'm looking at dates, and I'm like, okay, she had when she was supposed to have them when she was 1. But she was born at the end of December, and I lived in New York, so it was cold, flu season. She was sick, so she didn't have them at her first birthday. They were in February because that's when they could get me in. So she was almost 15 months old. And I remember once I knew all the truth about this, I looked at her shot records, and I just started crying. I was like, I can't believe that I did this. She had MMR, Tdap, Prevnar, and the flu shot, I'm pretty sure, all in one appointment. One appointment. Then I'm pretty sure she got measles from her vaccines because she had an all over body rash. Her droop came back. She was sick. I had to take her. She got RSV like 6 weeks later. Like I just started like connecting all of these dots. And I didn't know that red dye was terrible. I didn't know. Yeah.
I mean, none of us knew. None of us knew. We all believed, that's how we all grew, you know the story. So thank God. I told you, I mentioned before the show started that I think it's wonderful that you're on here the day that RFK Jr. gets voted in. It's like, how perfect.
That's God for sure.
So yeah, I mean, thank goodness, thank God that now this stuff is starting to come out, and there is starting to be more awareness, general awareness about this stuff. But for so long, we all just bought into it, and we believed everything we were told.
And the medical system was one of the most trusted professions for so long until 2020 when and then I'm over here like, wait a second.
Yeah.
None of this is new. The healthcare system has been falling apart it was falling apart in 2005 when I started going to nursing school.
Wow.
It was terrible then. It's like on the brink of implosion at this point. But 15 years ago, it still sucked. It was still terrible. But when you go into healthcare also, and if anybody listening is in healthcare, that's just normal. It's normal to be overworked, underpaid, understaffed, underappreciated. The world is exploding around you, and you have to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and get the work done because who else is going to do it? And that's how healthcare works. And it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And I think the younger generation of nurses, and my mom's still she works as a nurse practitioner. So she's been a nurse since 1992 or 91. So she's now seeing all of these newer nurses come in who are, your, what is that young generation? I forget. I'm getting old.
Gen Z.
The Gen Z nurses. They don't put up with it. They're like, I'll go work at McDonald's. I do not care. Absolutely not. No. And I'm like, I wish we had that kind of tenacity. We were just like, whatever.
So what does your family, that your mom and all of your other family members who are nurses, are they on the same page as you now with all this?
They're coming around. It's been a wild ride.
And how do you say, hey mom, everything you're doing is not good? Go. She might be watching.
It's been I've been very loud. As soon as I started working for myself, I was pretty loud before, like when I had an employer, but I still a little bit, I didn't throw it all out there because I was like, I don't want to get fired. But as soon as I worked for myself and I didn't have to worry about an employer, it all came out. And I've had conversations with my mom, and she was like, I thought that you were absolutely psycho crazy. And I was like, she's insane. I don't know what happened to my daughter. Something has come over her. She's absolutely insane. And now she is in the place that I was about 4 or 5 years ago when I first dove into the rabbit hole. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Everybody is a Satanist and they're all trying to kill us. And this is terrible. And did you know, like, she like sends me all this stuff. I'm like, Mom, I know.
Oh my goodness. Bless her heart. It's a hard thing to go through that. I went through it.
I am your mentor in rabbit holing. I will help you.
The awakening.
The great awakening. Yeah.
Everything I've learned is a lie.
It's so hard to realize that everything you ever learned was a lie. And I have this book. I talk about this book all the time.
Yeah. You've been doing videos of reading through
this book. I know. I got to do it. I've been busy the last couple of weeks, so I haven't done a live, but I want to. So this book, it's called "What Really Makes You Ill: Why Everything You Thought You Knew About Disease Is Wrong."
Wow. It's
by Dawn Lester and David Parker, and I bought this book in 2021 or 2022. It reads like a textbook. It is not your bedtime.
Not fun reading.
It is. You're open and you got highlighters and you're like dog-earing pages and taking notes and like looking up things on ChatGPT to help you figure out what the heck is going on. But I started really looking into stuff like that, and I was like, literally my entire medical education is wrong. All of it. Except for like where things are. Like anatomy, physiology, cool. Those are correct. But everything else, I'm like, wow, everything is wrong. So I had to unlearn and then relearn. And the unlearning is really hard, especially the longer that you've been involved. I mean, the longer you're indoctrinated, the harder it is to be like, oh, I was wrong.
Yeah. And some people can't do that. Some people are just not able to make that jump because it's so threatening to them, to think that, oh my God, all this stuff, especially if you're in the medical field, and that means maybe you've done things that maybe hurt people, not knowing, but still, that is such a hard jump for some people. They would rather just close their eyes and, nah, 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 nah,
it's still hard for me. And I am the person, I literally, do not take me to the hospital. Like I would rather die than that. Like, do not.
Yeah.
Unless it's
my husband and I, same way.
And I need to go have surgery. Like, I got hit by a car while I was riding my bike and I didn't go to the hospital. Like, I don't.
Unless I'm dying. Or maybe not even then.
Yes. So,
oh my goodness.
It's still hard.
Wow. Okay, everybody, we are talking to the uncensored nurse, Amanda Wilcox. So please feel free to post your questions or comments in the chat room or in the comments on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. I forgot, Amanda, to show them your website address. So here is her website address, The Uncensored Nurse. And so she's also on Facebook and on Instagram. And where else can people find you?
Those are pretty much it.
Okay, so Instagram's a big one for you right now, right?
Instagram is the big one. I post more on Facebook. I'm a creature of habit. I've had a Facebook since 2004. I'm like, I don't know. I'm a creature of habit. I'm trying to learn Instagram, but it's overwhelming to me. So, but I try to post like 3 or 4 times a week on Instagram.
Well, you're doing great on Instagram. You got hundreds of thousands of followers.
I know. And that's why it's overwhelming to me, because I'm like, oh no, I'm going to say something and then all these people are going to talk to me and then I have to talk to them back and I am overwhelmed.
So, and you have a private community for the Uncensored Nurse, correct? Do you want to talk about that for people?
Yeah. So what I started doing, because of Facebook having all of these, censorship things and all of this stuff, I decided I need access to y'all without all of the Big Brother watching us. So I started doing weekly emails. I try. Like, I'm not perfect. I try. But consistent emails where I just kind of like dump the week. So I'm like, what am I listening to for podcasts? What books am I reading? I really like to cook. Like, I think I'm going to make a cookbook, just because I like to cook. And I'm like, oh, I made this fun recipe. Like, you guys should try it. It's healthy and it's like good, healthy food. But like, I started making my own mayonnaise, like weird. It all stems from
that the other day. Yeah.
I'm like, why does this bread have 47 ingredients in it and it doesn't mold? I have questions. Bread is not that hard to make. I can make bread. I can make mayonnaise. It takes 3 seconds to make mayonnaise. Yeah. So I just dump stuff like that in my emails and like just thoughts I'm having, if I were to take my thoughts, all of them that I had for the whole week, and put them on Facebook, which I don't, this email is what that would be. It's the little inner workings of my brain. Stuff I'm watching, studies that I find, it's just whatever I find. So I've really enjoyed having that email community, because it allows me to be more connected without the red tape of social media and not being able to message people and comments and things get hidden. Like, all my comments on Instagram were hidden for 3 days, and I had a setting. I don't know. All my comments were gone. I'm like, I don't know what happened. I found the setting. Maybe I put the setting on. I have no idea. The comments are back. So that's my emails, the Uncensored Lounge.
Okay, so how do people sign up for that? So they go to theuncensorednurse.com.
And it's the first thing on the page, and it will prompt you if you want to sign up for emails. And then it also delineates like what type of information you want from me, because I'm a little bit more, I do business mentorship. So I've got stuff that's geared towards business people. I've got stuff that's geared towards wellness. Or if you're like, give me everything, I just want it all. Then we've got the all stuff. So it's very simple. My website is very simple. I tried not to, sometimes you go to a website, it's very busy and I get lost and I'm like, there's so much, where do I go? So the way that my website is set up is when you go there, you can sign up for my emails, and there's like a little tab, and I think I recently renamed some things, so I don't remember.
And you got all the vaccine info is on there.
But my vaccine information is in there, and I'm pretty sure it's labeled uncensored info. So and I'm going to be adding more. I actually got more like digital information because a lot of my vaccine information is paper. It's in binders. So I got my hands on more digital stuff. So I'm going to be adding those. I just have to sit down and do it and get it because I'm a one-woman show. I do it all. I make my own website. I update it all. I do. You understand?
I do. Yes.
I do it all.
All the hats. All the hats.
All the hats. So that's what my website is. And it's basically just a hub to get to my email list. And then all of my vaccine information is on there too.
Okay. Sounds good. So, and I've been, everybody, I've been friends and following Amanda for over a year, and she really does have a lot of, she says it's not, she doesn't put everything on Facebook, but she puts a lot of really good information, and I really enjoy it. Her little videos, and she's always giving, I think of her as a health guru because she's always bringing all of this very valuable information about health stuff, about medications, and just, it's been really educational just to follow her on Facebook. And so when I just recently checked out your Instagram, and I'm following you there now, and she's got really funny stuff over there. Your little videos that you make.
I try. So I'm the same person everywhere I go. If you see me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, in an email, it's the same person in person, but because those platforms are just structured differently and they're like different things click, I get to be a little more fun on Instagram. It's just a funner platform. So I enjoy making reels and like finding the stuff that sticks and the little CapCut videos. They're fun for me. So I'm always like, what can I say on this video of this person? How can I make this funny? And then I make a video and it's just myself talking and it has like no likes. So I'm like, oh, I see what the people like, not my face. Got it.
Oh, that's funny. You're on TikTok too. Am I correct? TikTok?
I wouldn't say that I'm on TikTok. I have a TikTok account, but I don't post anything on it.
I'll look for you.
I posted 2 things on TikTok. And then I got angry and I had to make them go away. So I posted one thing about vaccines and I got jammed for community standards. So I was like, I'm done with TikTok.
Yeah,
and then I posted something else about, I'll talk in code. The FBI came to my house because I happened to be in Washington, D.C. on a certain wintry day.
Yes.
And I spoke about it on TikTok. And the whole, I was like, somebody's going to come to my house. Like, I was like afraid from what the comments said. I'm like, I mean, like, don't come here because we have concealed carries and don't do that. But I don't want to deal with it. So I just delete, like, I'm like, I'm not, these people on TikTok are like, oh, I'm not.
It's different.
I'm not handling that well.
But you have to. So you've got to tell us the story. Tell us the story in one of your emails. You can do that. So because So this is the Jason.
I will.
Thing.
It's on my list. I just with the whole like we're allowed to talk about things now on social media. Yeah. My best friend, I let her do things first. That's why she's on her 3rd Facebook. Yeah, I still have mine. So she was there with me and she went live and talked about it and everything is fine. So I was like, I think I can do this. Okay. And she was also, she led the way. I think she was the first person to ever get a Facebook jail sentence. And it was after the Vegas shootings. Oh. She went live and talked about it. She had a group called the War on Truth. And it got shut down. Her Facebook has disappeared. But she started all of that. She drug me down the rabbit hole. She's like grabbed my leg and was like, I am not watching this stuff alone. I'm like, okay. Why me? All right.
That's fine. A good friend.
My best friend.
I'm not joking. Wow, I want to know who she is. I want to follow her on Facebook.
She finally has her own real Facebook now. She used her husband's for years, 4 years. She took over her husband's Facebook account. So everybody thought she was a tranny. But she was not, because she was Thomas Springer on Facebook. Amber Marie is her name.
So she was actually getting him put in Facebook jail.
I know. we're a whole vibe over here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's funny. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your story because you had posted, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago.
I was
Everybody
testing.
want to
I'm
hear
like,
my
ooh.
J6 story? And I'm like, yes. And then
So Facebook wants to hear it. Instagram wants to hear it. I'm going to have to figure out how to like go live on both of them at the same time. And
you
just
can do that in StreamYard.
And just tell it.
That's how you do it.
And I'll email it out too. It's on my list of things to do by the end of February.
Okay, good. Okay, well, we're looking forward to it. Okay, let's look at some comments. Can you see the comments? I'm gonna we got lots of comments here. Let's see if there's any questions for you. Let's see. Everybody is sitting around in their comfy blankets and fleece because it's cold all over the place. Okay. Let's see. We've got Nixie's here. Michelle is here. Renee is here. Lewis is here. Justine Butler. You might know her. Yeah,
I do know Justine.
Hi, I know her too. This is our common friend. So meeting Amanda online changed my whole life and outlook. I met you shortly after Blue. So Amanda has always responded to me and helped me when I reached out. Love you both so much. It gives me goosebumps to see you both live together on the podcast. Awesome.
That's so fun.
Thank you, Justine. It's so good to see you here. Okay, let's see. Ramona is here. Nixie says, always follow the science. And I know he is joking.
Always.
He says, even when the science is sketchy.
It's science with the $S.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so here Lewis, hi Lewis, says, have you heard of this? Acaic tea, I don't know how to say that, is a Native American herbal tea. Let's see, a nurse in Canada was curing people.
I'm new to the herbs game.
Okay.
I've got actually one of my favorite books that I'm still learning, and it's funny because I'm on the page of I'm like, don't take pharmaceuticals, but I'm still there's so much to know about natural remedies and herbs, and it's almost like taking a pharmacology class, except you have to take an herbology class. Yeah. And there's just so much. So I just keep digging and learning and digging and learning. Yeah. But there's a book called Herbal. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Herbal Antivirals. This is a really good book with a lot of really helpful information. And then there's another one that's called Herbal Antibiotics. So there's antivirals and antibiotics.
Okay.
Natural remedies.
Yep. It's the way to go.
Yes.
My husband and I are, we're homesteaders. And so we raise as much of and grow as much of our own food as possible. So animals and plants and, as organic as we possibly can be. And I have another homesteading friend who is much more into the learning about the herbals, and she makes tinctures. And out of plants that she's grown, and she has like a whole set of different tinctures, and she's done all this research to find out which tincture for which thing, and she'll give you like a little chart, and they work. It's amazing. It's just amazing.
We use my staple that I always use is oil of oregano. It's not oregano. I'd always have to make the distinction. It's not oregano essential oil, because that also exists. This is different. It's a tincture, not an oil. And you can make it yourself. I'm not the make it yourself. I really try. But I can only do so many things at once. Yeah. So I buy it from like your local crunchy store will have it. Yeah. And what we use it for a lot in my household is ear infections. My daughter still, I think it's residual from her vaccines. Honestly, she gets ear infections a lot, and she was swimming for a while. And that just, the chlorine in the water gets in the ears, and she just had ear infections quite frequently. And my holistic doctor, I was seeing a naturopathic doctor for an actual ND for a couple of years, and I'm really good friends with her, and she told me all of these things, and she said, if you take the oil of oregano and you put, depending on the size of the child and the size of the ear, and just disclaimer, because I do still have a nursing license, if you think you might have a problem and you should check with your doctor, and like if you think there might be a ruptured eardrum, don't be putting stuff in your ear. But other than that, this being said, I've used this on my daughter multiple times, and it works. You take You lay them down so that they're laying flat, and then pull their ear up and back so that you can get into the ear canal, and then you drop 3 to 5 little drops into the ear, and then this is called the tragus, and you pulse it while they're laying down so that it gets down in, and then I'm like, please watch Bluey. 10 minutes. Don't move. Okay. And she's like, my neck hurts. I'm like, you have a pillow. So you keep them down as long as possible. Right. And then the other one that we use is this is tea tree oil. Okay. This is the brand that I use. And if you take it and you just I use it undiluted. I just put some on my fingers and then rub it down starting at the lymph nodes behind, next to your neck, under your ear, and you just massage it down. And she literally asked me, she's like, my throat hurts. Can you do the oil thing? Yes, I can do the oil.
And that's tea tree oil.
Tea tree oil. It's called Melaleuca oil.
How do you spell that?
MELALEUCA. Make sure it's pure. There's a lot of counterfeit trash.
Right. Melaleuca oil, and then oil of oregano, which is a tincture.
And you can take oil of oregano internally. It just sucks. Because oregano is a hot oil. It comes in capsules. I still have the bottle, and I'm cheap. It's like $40 for this little tiny bottle, but I've had it for 5 years. So you don't need that much. It lasts forever. But I'm like, I'm going to use this until it's gone. But it's really, really it's very hot. So kids won't take it, but I make my husband take it. With V8 juice.
Yeah, I know my friend, the tincture set that we had, the best one, I think, was the peppermint tincture that you just took it for everything. But it also included one that was, it was peppers. What is it? The kind of pepper. I can't remember. What is it called? Starts with a C. Why can't I think of it? Really, really hot pepper.
Is it the capsaicin?
No, it's a regular. It's something that you buy at the store and put on your pizza. What is it called? It's the red pepper. It'll come to me. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comments. But anyway, I was terrified. It even she put a little warning on the bottle.
Yeah,
not for kids.
Some of those oils are hot.
Oh my goodness. And so I was terrified to ever even try that. My husband tried it. But it's very, very good for your circulation. And so you would just take a couple of drops of the whatever tincture, and some of them tasted terrible, but they worked. They worked.
But all right. I think too, pharmaceuticals taste gross also.
Yeah.
And it's making me better if it tastes gross.
That's true. That's what you think about medicines.
Yeah, and it's medicine.
All right, let's see. There's a couple more questions here. So Renee says, taking my father to the doctor at the VA 2 years ago, the doctor told me there's been a cure for cancer for years, but the FDA wouldn't approve it because it would destroy the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, a lot of us are hearing that.
I believe it.
You believe that?
I 100% believe it. I will cover my butt by saying I don't know it to be 100% true.
Right.
But I believe it to be true. And one of the biggest things, my husband is really, really into fasting. And fasting, if you think about it, God gave us everything that we needed to fit. We're done messing it up. We're messing all the things up. We got all this crap in our air and crap in our food and crap in our products and all of this garbage. But fasting is such it is an amazing, amazing tool. And he has read and listened to all the science about fasting. I started diving into it with Dr. Mindy Peltz. She wrote the book Fast Like a Girl. And it came out in beginning of 2022, I want to say. And because everybody was about intermittent fasting, do a, 16-8 split. And it never worked for me. And I was like, well, fasting must just not work for me. But it turns out that if you're a woman you can't just do a 16-8 fast every day, because you have to go based on what your hormone cycle is doing. So there's certain times of the month, even if you don't have your period anymore, your hormones still do what they do. You still have a hormone cycle, even if you don't have the actual menstrual part. So there's certain times during your period that you should not fast, like no more than 12 hours. Like you need to eat, you need to give your body what it needs and feed your hormones. And that's typically about the week before you get your period. And then there's a 10-day period in between after you ovulate and then before you get your period in there. So that Fast Like a Girl will dig out all, she's on YouTube. She's got tons.
And that's Mindy Pelz?
Pelz, Pelz.
Okay. Wow. That is fascinating, because my husband and I both do intermittent fasting, and we've been doing it for years. And I'm an old lady, so no more of that, monthly stuff. So, but yeah, so I like the intermittent fasting. It seems to work for me pretty well. And then we do practice fasting occasionally, like longer fasts for religious purposes. So anyway, yeah, I'm very fascinated on that, because we don't eat any food until afternoon, and then we don't eat anything after 6 o'clock. And we've been doing this for pretty much for years. We do break
and
in
if that works for you, like I always tell people, if what Dr. Mindy always says is she calls it the N of one. And it's, you are the scientific study of yourself. So whatever works for you. So I was over here like, I'm still fat. I have a question. Why? I'm doing the eating in the windows. So there's a couple of things. And if what you're doing, and you have a lot more, you can be a little more steady if you're postmenopausal.
Yeah.
Because there's, and then people like me who were entering into the roller coaster of perimenopause, where it's like, woohoo!
Yeah. Have fun.
I'm like, okay, here we go.
Sorry, guys, we're talking about all this.
But with fasting, and this is true if you're a man or a woman, you got to switch it up.
Okay.
So it's called metabolic switching, and it's turning when you can metabolically switch, you will change your body from burning fat to burning sugar to burning fat.
Okay.
And burning ketones eventually.
Yeah.
Is what ends up happening when you fast for a long period of time. And you need to be able to do both. You can't live, in my opinion, I don't think that anybody should be living in ketosis for long extended periods of time. I don't think that we were made to do that. I don't think that our genetic makeup was built to just live in ketosis forever.
Yeah.
But I do think the switching is very important.
Yeah.
So what we try to do, and I have to work around my cycle, but basically what my husband does is he'll pick 3 or 4 days of the week where he won't eat until around lunchtime, like 11, 12 o'clock. And then it's usually the day after that. So say today he woke up, today's Thursday, woke up, did his workout, fasted, and then ate at about 11:30 this morning. Tomorrow, he'll get up and he'll eat immediately when he wakes up.
Okay.
Because then your body never knows what's happening. Your body's like, I better burn all the things, because I never know. Is she gonna feed me or not? I'm not sure. You better burn.
So you got to keep your body guessing.
You got to keep your body guessing. And then for health purposes, I know a lot of people do extended fasts for spiritual reasons, but they also have enormous health implications as well. So if you do, I'm not sure exactly of the statistic, but it's high up there. So if I misquote, don't come for me. But if you do a 3-day fast once a year, so 72 hours-ish or longer, once a year, it will decrease your chances of getting cancer by like 70%.
What?
70%.
What?
And it's because your body goes in. I'm going to get really sciencey now. I have listened to umpteen podcasts about this, and Gary Brecka is also really, really good.
I'm writing all this down. Wow.
Gary Brecka is a wealth of knowledge. But when you fast for that long period of time, so once you go over the 17-hour, you're going into autophagy. So your body's eating its own fat. But once you cusp over into that 36, 48, now 72 hours, your body goes and cleans up what's called senescent cells. And they call them zombie cells. And they're basically pre-cancer cells that they're wrong. Something's messed up with them. They're not doing their job. They have a greater chance of replicating and turning into a mass that turns into cancer. Wow. They're just like these little zombie cells that are floating around in your body. And when you fast for that 3-day period, your body literally goes on a hunt and goes and finds all these cells and cleans them out.
Wow.
And when I learned that, I was like,
and just once a year. That's all you have to do. Once a year.
Once
and so this would be a water only fast?
Water only. Okay. We do coffee because we are psycho. But nothing in your coffee. So just
no cream or anything like that.
No cream, no stuff.
That's amazing. I can do that.
72 hours. And then, so what Dr. Mindy says is usually what ends up happening with people that do a 3-day fast, once that 3 days kicks in, you feel so good that you go to 5.
Yeah. Because after you get past, we've done a couple of times done longer fasts, and you get to the point where you're not hungry anymore. And you do feel
hungry. Your brain, you feel like a superhuman.
Yeah, you feel so clean. Yeah.
You're very on point. You're on fire. So, that 3-day fast, and even we've noticed that fasting will help it. We can tell a difference in our inflammation in our body.
Yeah.
Just by fasting. Like Matt has shoulder issues, and he can tell. We just went to Mexico on a leadership event, and we drank by the pool and did the things, and he's like, I can tell that my shoulder's bothering me because I was having a bunch of Coronas by the pool, and I, too much. So he fasted when he got home, and now his shoulder's fine, and I have back problems, and I can tell a difference. I can feel it after I fast. My back feels so much better. Yeah. I come home, I'm like, I need to fast. I need to fast and stretch.
Yeah. That's what my husband and I, we kind of do keto. We were really strict on keto for years. And I lost like 40 pounds and have kept it off for, at this point, 8 years or more.
That's awesome.
Just from the keto. Now we have such physically active lives as homesteaders, taking care of animals, carrying water buckets and stuff. So we don't have to be as strict. But when we get off the keto and eat a lot of carbs, we feel it. It's just, we just feel terrible.
Yeah. And if you're eating carbs, if the carbs that you're eating, I try to, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to lie. I'm probably going to have some ice cream after this podcast because it's in the freezer and I've been wanting it for 3 days. So I'm not perfect. But as a general rule, I feel like when people ask me for dietary advice, and this is what I teach my 9-year-old, like, did God create it and is it in the ground and can you just go get some from the earth? Then you should eat that. And so she's like looking at herself. She's like, how much of this is from the earth? Like, well, what's on your plate, darling? She's like, well, I got berries and fish and a cucumber and a piece of bread. I'm like, okay, quiz time. Which one didn't come from the earth? She's like, well, we had to make the bread. So, and it's just this, and these things come to me because I'm raising a child who's asking questions, and I'm trying to teach her these things about her life. Like my mom didn't know that vegetables didn't come out of a can until she was 20 because she grew up in a city. Yeah. And they were poor. And so when I was little, we always had fresh vegetables from the market because she screeched the car to a halt. She's like, wait a second. There is broccoli on the side of the road. I have questions. I need to buy it. I don't know how to cook it, but I'm going to figure it out. So I grew up with a mother who was learning how to cook actual real food.
Wow. Yeah.
And I want to keep that going with my
Yes.
daughter and like just letting her know, because
Yeah.
so many people don't know
Mm-mm.
that it's Frankenfood. All the stuff that's in the grocery
Mm.
store, like you go
Yeah.
in the middle, none of it's
Yeah.
food.
Don't get stuff from the middle. Stay around the outsides. So, and
Stay on the
that's one thing
perimeter.
we do as homesteaders. We grow as much of our own food as we can, seasonal, but, and
Yeah.
then can and ferment and stuff like that. And it tastes so much better. People have no idea. If, I go out and I pick stuff for a salad for lunch, and I pick it 5 minutes before I eat it, and so it just 5 minutes before it had all the nutrients and everything coming up through the roots, and and it tastes so much better for you. And people just have no idea. So many people spend their entire lives and they've never eaten a garden fresh salad or a
Right.
vegetable they just went and picked off the vine.
You don't know what a real, like a strawberry is not supposed to be this
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Like they're little, they're
Yeah.
berries.
And carrots are not, they're not normally all pretty shaped.
No, carrots are ugly.
They're lumpy. Oh my goodness. All right, let's see. I want to ask you about your faith journey, because let me see, where's my question here? Yeah, because you just mentioned this recently. You grew up without God and you got saved after, and here's your words, an undeniable pull to explore God, his word, and follow him. And I love this, an undeniable pull. So can you please tell us more about this?
Yeah, so I grew up, I was the kid that went to all of the churches with all of my friends, because we didn't go to church. So my grandmother's generation, they went to Catholic church, and then my mom didn't go to church, and it stems from, like, I feel like church is always the problem. It's never God. It's never
You
Jesus.
can talk about it. It's okay.
My mom had me out of wedlock when she was 19 years old, and she thought that she needed to have me baptized as a baby, because that's how she's like, okay, I got to get this baby baptized because that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And she couldn't find a church that would baptize me.
Yeah.
So that turned her off to religion.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, understandably.
So,
yes.
Understandably. So she finally did find a church that would baptize me. So I got baptized as a baby, but I never went to church. And then it just, I like dabbled around in high school, and I would go to church with my friends, but they all got, had their confirmations and did all that, and I didn't. And I just remember, I was like, I have a lot of questions about this. Like, why can't I go up there and get communion? I'm here. Like, the whole thing was very weird to me. So then I got out of high school, and I haven't told this story in a really long time, but I feel like this is the perfect place to tell it. I was living with one of my friends from high school. We both went to college and didn't know what we wanted to do, and our moms were both nurses, and we both came home together with our tails between our legs and went to nursing school together. And we lived together, and we were having this conversation in the kitchen of our tiny little apartment, and they still had glass milk jugs at one of these convenience stores near our house. So we had this glass milk jug because it was empty, and it was sitting on the counter with the plastic cap on top of it. And we were talking, and she grew up very, like, in church all the time. So I was trying to understand from her. I'm like, tell me more. I want to know. I got all these questions. So we're having this really deep conversation. It's like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And I remember saying to her, if God is real, he has to give me a sign, because I can't believe it without something tangible. And that cap of that milk jug flew off of the milk carton and hit the ceiling with such force. There's no other way that it could have happened. And we got in the car and like went to go try to find a church that was open at 9 o'clock at night. Go sit in a church. I don't know. I'm going to go to church right now. So that was the first piece of it. I was like, okay, so I filed that away in my brain. And then I became friends with a girl that I went to high school with. We reconnected, and she was the pastor's daughter at a Christian church. So I had always learned the Catholic way of things. That's the only like real exposure I ever had to religion. And then she's telling me all of these things. She's like, it doesn't work that way. You don't have to do X, Y, Z before you're accepted. It's the opposite. She's like, you're accepted first and then, and I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. So I'm listening. We drove from upstate New York to Nashville together to an event, and I lost my voice because we talked for the entire 14-hour ride. She just told me all of these things. I'm like, tell me more. So I get it planted in my head. And I'm like, okay, this starts to make sense. Then I download a devotional app. I couldn't get into the Bible because I didn't understand it. Yeah. I couldn't even read, like, it was like reading a different language. Yeah. I couldn't even think about reading the Bible, but I could understand this devotional app. So I started reading it every day, and I was like, this stuff makes sense to me. I'm like, to be a better person, it was almost like personal development for me. And I was like in that world. Yeah. So I had, I was doing an online business, and I knew about personal development. Like, this feels like personal development to me. Okay, I can get into this. So I was just going through this devotional app. I was very quiet. I went to church in New York a couple of times, but I didn't go often because every time I went, I couldn't stop crying. So I'm like, I can't even walk into this building without, and even just thinking about it, like I have tears in my eyes. I couldn't, and I was embarrassed. I'm like, now I'm just sitting here, and like all these people know me, and I'm just sitting here, like they're singing, I'm crying. I feel nobody was looking at me, but I felt like everybody was looking at me. So I'm like, okay, I can't do that every week because that is aggressive. So I sort of just like went on my own little journey, and I just kept getting pulled back, and I kept getting pulled back. And when it really happened was in 2020, I was really, my best friend was like, she was going to Africa and doing mission work. And there was a point, there was a sort of a breaking point with us where she was like, wanted me to come to God so badly, but I was so resistive. Yeah. And I just, because I thought that I had to be a different person. Yeah. Yeah. And you do kind of, like, you are born again, and there's all of that, but I thought that I was going to have to be a different person, and there was a lot of things that I didn't want to give up. Yeah. So I just kind of went back and forth, and I was, then I got a Bible, and I'm like, I got to read this Bible. Okay, I have it. I got like this pretty one with like flowers on it, and like to take notes, because I'm a note taker. So I'm like, if I'm going to read this Bible, I got to take notes. And then I met somebody when I moved to Wilmington in 2020, and we were both way down the rabbit hole, like aggressive. And she grew up in a Christian church, and she said to me, listen, if you're going to start reading the Bible and you are down the rabbit hole, start with Revelation.
Oh my goodness.
I did.
Oh no, I don't know if I would have suggested that.
It was exactly what I needed, though. I don't recommend everybody starts in Revelation, but that's what I needed. So I read it, and I'm like I'm like, this is where are we? Where are we? So I'm like reading the whole Revelation. I'm like, okay, the good people win. Okay, that's how I like got. I'm like, this has to be true. This whole book has to be true because the end is true. So I'm like, okay, we're living in end times. Okay, so then I'm going through, and my team, we really built each other together with this online business. We built really heavily during COVID. So there was a lot of people who were coming to their faith. They were coming back to their faith. They wanted to be baptized, and churches were closed. So they couldn't. So we do leadership retreats and different retreats, usually once a year, sometimes twice a year. And my best friend Amber said, we're going to baptize whoever wants to be baptized on these retreats, because where else are they going to get baptized? Like, they're asking me to baptize them. because they can't go anywhere. So we're in Myrtle Beach. No, we weren't in Myrtle Beach. We were in Gulf Shores, Alabama. We were at this retreat. There's 60 women in these 4 condos on the beach. And she just, this is how I knew it was the Holy Spirit and God and everything. She was like, I have no idea how many people are going to want to be baptized. She's like, I'm just going to buy a bunch of, because we give everybody a shirt when they get baptized, and it has some sort of saying on it, and then it says "but God" on the back, and the front saying changes depending on what year it is. So she just bought all these random shirts in random sizes. She had exactly the amount of shirts that she needed in all of the exact sizes. She did not know that I was going to come to her at that retreat, and I'm not gonna cry now. I was watching everything, and we did the baptisms on the last day. So I'm going through everything, and I'm thinking about everything, and I'm like, all these people are going to get baptized, and I'm like, I really feel like it's time. I need to get baptized. So my best friend since I was 16 years old, who I'm pretty sure is the one that prayed for me the most out of anybody, baptized me in the Gulf of Mexico when it used to be that.
The Gulf of America.
The Gulf of America. But there was a whole bunch of us, and every single time we baptized people, and that was the beginning. And she got a lot of flack from it, and she goes, it says right here in the Bible, right here. And I'm like, okay, what I'm like, I trust you. I'm not the one. And as soon as I came up out of that water, I have a video. It's on my Instagram. My friend Kristen took a video of every single person that got baptized. And as we were standing there, it was me and my friend Rebecca and my other friend Charisse, and they were all surrounding me. And the waves, like, we kept having to wait to put me under because the waves were so strong. Like, it was almost like the devil was he was like trying so hard to make it not happen. And I remember, and anybody who's been baptized as an adult, you know this feeling, but I was a different person in an instant. As soon as I came up out of that water, I was a completely different person. And one thing that I struggled with for a really long time was I was sexually abused by my stepdad, and I could not get rid of it. It was just overwhelming, looming, and I couldn't get rid of it, and I couldn't get rid of it. And she had us hold rocks before we all got baptized, and she was like, whatever, you have to throw it in the ocean. You have to leave it at the cross. That's like, it was the metaphorical cross. We threw it in the ocean, and that's what I threw in the ocean. And it's still there. It's always there. But it doesn't have a hold on me like it used to. And that was in 2020. I was also 33 years old when I got baptized, which I find to be also ironic. And I couldn't stay away. And then, I haven't told this story in a really long time. My husband grew up Catholic, and now he reads the Bible more than I do. He gets up, he reads the Bible for like an hour every day. And my daughter knows Christ more than I do. And I remember Amber saying, my way to get you to follow Jesus is to get your daughter to believe in him. And she was 4 when we moved to North Carolina. And I put her in a Christian preschool, mostly because they were the only preschool that wouldn't make her wear a mask. That was really the biggest reason. And we started going to church there because it was the only place that felt normal, even though it was so far removed from anything that I knew. Because I didn't grow up in church. It wasn't like, oh, I'm back at church, I feel normal. I was like, these people are normal. No, like, it just felt like it was normalcy. And
Yeah.
Reagan, no, it like makes me so emotional because and she can't imagine. She's like, Mom, you didn't know Jesus when you were a kid? I'm like, no, no, I didn't. And she cannot process that in her brain.
Yeah.
So that was exciting to say all that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. I did not know we were going to go there, and that blessed me a lot.
We knew that the Spirit would lead us wherever we needed to go.
Yes, amen. Yes, I mean that's the way it works. So wow, thank you for sharing that. So amazing. A lot of stuff to unpack there. I want to ask you a few more questions. So I think one of the most amazing things is being able to experience Jesus through your daughter now. So because there is something so different about a childlike faith. So I got saved when I was 6 years old. So, so I had that childlike faith. And it's so different because we get, adulthood just like pushes out so much. We learn to, we lose our wonder, our sense of wonder. We lose our, we become pessimistic. But a child doesn't have any of that. And a child is so willing to believe in, the miracles and how big God is, and nothing is impossible. And it's very hard for adults to believe that kind of stuff. And so to have a deep faith as adults, when children don't have that kind of a blocks at all, so how wonderful, what a gift. And then also when you were saying, before, when you started getting that pulling, but you were resistant because you thought that you would have to be a different person. And then the moment you came up from baptism, you understood, I don't have to make that change. God does that inside of me. All you have to do is focus on Jesus, and he does the changing.
And I think too, with everything that's happened since 2020, it was October in 2020. So I had a fair bit of 2020 happening before I was saved. But I'm not scared of anything. I'm not afraid of anything. I don't want to die tomorrow. I got stuff to do. I want to be here for my family and my daughter, but if I went to heaven tomorrow, like, I'm not afraid of that. And I used to be afraid because it's the unknown. I also have a very unhealthy addiction with near-death experiences. I've watched so many of them. I'm like, I know what heaven looks like because I've heard it through 4 million people's mouths, and they all say the same thing. So that has to be what it looks like. We watch so many times. We fall asleep to listening to near-death experiences on YouTube. Sometimes though, you got to be careful about which ones you watch because
some of them are kind of weird. Yeah,
some of them are kind of weird, and they're not all. I don't like to. I like to watch them all because I like to hear all of the different scenarios, but I can tell the ones that don't know Jesus. I can tell the difference, and I don't care for those ones as much. But I don't know. I'm like, this has to be true. And I'm a person of evidence, and it feels, I don't know as though I need to have an experience like that to see the evidence and know that it's true, because person after person after person after person after person, like all of these people, atheists, people who, there's a guy on the Joe Rogan show, I forget his name, but he has a Joe Rogan podcast. He was an atheist, and he was like, I'm going to read the Bible because I'm going to disprove it. And then now he's like a devout Christian. And I'm like, see, this is I love listening to all of that stuff because I still feel like such a child with my faith because I'm still so new. Like, I cannot recite I can't tell you a scripture. I know some of where the stories are. I remember them in my head, but I was never given that like formal church education of like, memorize these things and do this stuff. Which I think is a blessing.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I'm not tied up in all of these different things. I'm just like, okay, I want to read about all of the things that Jesus did and what happened in his life and what are the miracles that he performed and what are the things that the people did and how do I feel when I am in my relationship and having a conversation with God, like how does that make me feel? And it took me a while to put this together. I grew up without a dad. So my psychology brain thinks to myself, I'm like, I never knew what it was like to have a dad.
Yeah.
And a dad that I could count on.
Right.
So that was very resistive to me because I'm the first child of a whole family. Like I'm the oldest by 11 years. I was the only kid. My mom was 19 when I was born. So I'm like the epitome of the eldest daughter.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, me too.
Tell me what to do.
Alpha.
So I think once I figured that out, and then my husband is such a good father. That is one thing that I prayed for it without knowing I was praying for. Like I was like, please just let me have a good dad for my child once that day comes. And he is such a good dad. That and it like helps me to connect the dots because I'm like, you're such a good dad. Yeah. He's got to be even better. That must be how this works. So it's like all of these little puzzle pieces have fallen together for me. But it's been a wild ride, to say the least.
That is beautiful. Thank you for sharing all of that. Thank you. Gosh, we only have 15 more minutes. I can't believe it. This has been so much fun. I love talking to you, listening to you. Let me look through the comments really quickly and see. I think there were some more questions. Let's see. YouTube is censoring your question. Renee, did you ever get your question in there? What are you trying to ask about? Everybody's trying to help her get a question. Try to code it somehow. Maybe that will work. Let's see if she put spaces in between the letters. Let's see. Okay, she's saying MEC-10. I don't know what you're asking, Renee. And antibiotics? I'm not sure. MEC-10. Ramona, do you understand? Oh, she's asking about ivermectin. Ivermectin. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Weird. That's so weird, Renee. Yeah, because Nixie was able. So it sounds like Renee was trying to say ivermectin, and it wouldn't let her post that. Okay. So anyway.
I thought we were done with that.
I don't know. Well, she's on YouTube. So let's see. Cayenne pepper. Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember, Michelle. Thank you. That's the tincture that I was terrified of. Okay, Dr. John Campbell has a good video on it with dosages. Great for cancer. What are your thoughts about ivermectin, Amanda?
I think that ivermectin is super safe. It's been around forever. They've been using it in other countries as a dewormer. Well, here, listen, I'm not going to go down this tangent with only 12 minutes left. But a rabbit hole that y'all might want to go down is parasites and like what those really do. And maybe cancer is related to those. I'm not going to say that they are or they aren't, but I would go do your own research about that and come to your own conclusion. Because why is it working in that capacity? Yeah. It just seems strange to me that would be working. But yeah, if you'd, that's a little homework assignment for y'all.
All right, you guys, get your homework assignment.
Hour and a half if we start talking about that.
All right, so yeah, these questions. I don't think we should talk about this stuff, guys. That might be a little bit too spicy for YouTube. So homework. But I would say, definitely can't hurt. That's what I would say.
Yep, agree.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody says cilantro and sunlight. That sounds good. Looking at
sunlight is huge.
Yeah.
They've tricked us into thinking that the sun is bad when every living thing on the whole planet needs sunlight. Yeah. Every living thing. Go get some sun. Like, don't get burned.
Yeah.
Be smart about it. But go get some sunlight in your eyeballs first thing in the morning.
Yeah. Vitamin D. That's what you get from the sun. Is that right? Look for things that clean metals from your body. Ramona says. Do you have any advice for that?
So there's a bunch of stuff on the market. I've never personally used them, but there are different things that can remove metals from your body. But what I would recommend to do, especially because you can detox metals too quickly and too aggressively, and then you can have pretty serious side effects from that. So if you feel like you need to have any sort of a heavy metal detox, find a naturopathic doctor or a holistic practitioner that can walk you through and monitor you through using these products, because there's plenty of them that are for sale on the internet, and people will tell you like, take these drops, take this tincture, take these things. But if you are detoxing too quickly, or you have so much buildup, nobody's monitoring you, and you can have some pretty detrimental side effects from that. So I would definitely get with some sort of a practitioner. I like to recommend nutritional response testing practitioners. There is, let me pull up the website. It's Freddie Yulhan. There's a website. You know, I'll get it to you, and we can.
Okay, yeah, you can just send that to me later. And so I'll actually, when I put this, I'll put another copy of this on YouTube. And so any extra stuff that you send to me, Amanda, I can put that in the notes underneath the video. So awesome. That is good information. Thank you. Then a bunch of people have said, let's see, people are thanking you for sharing your testimony. Let's see. Nixie says, giving me goosebumps.
It's rolled out of my mouth. I can't stop it.
Ramona says, beautiful testimony. Let's see. Michelle says, thank you so much for the beautiful testimony, Amanda. So touching, especially with your husband and daughter being able to grow in Christ together. Exactly. Okay. A couple more comments here about medical stuff. Renee says, cancer is a virus. Okay. There you go. And then Dr. Nancy Addison. Have you ever heard of her?
I haven't heard of her.
Okay, so that's Ramona was suggesting that. All right, we have got 8 minutes. So do you want to talk about the Break Free Project before we end? Tell us about the Break Free Project.
So the Break Free Project is a mission that my best friend and I started in 2019. And it stemmed from our kids being sick. So she has a son and a daughter who are around the same age as Reagan. So they were all little. They were all injured by their well visits. We like figured it all out together, and they were sick all the time. So what we realized was we started seeing a nutrition response testing doctor at that time, and so all of these things started to be uncovered. And I was deep in the like figuring out that the whole medical system was completely lying to me and all of these things. And we were like, I never thought about my environment and the products that I used and the things that I sprayed in my home and the soap that I used and lathered on my body and washed my clothes in and washed my sheets in and all of these different things. And what I learned was all of these products were causing detriment to our health. So they were messing up my hormones, and they were causing Reagan to have all sorts of respiratory issues. I was like the Febreze girl. I had like the air fresheners and the sprayers and those like unstoppable bead things that you put in your washing machine. I just wanted everything to smell good. And I also was in healthcare, so I didn't think that anything was clean unless it smelled like bleach. So all of these things are so toxic to us, and I had no idea. And then I started learning about it, and I learned about the lung study, which was done in Europe. They studied over 6,000 people, and they followed them for 20 years. And they found that using regular national brand cleaning products once a week, cleaning your house, causes the same damage to your lungs as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day for 20 years.
Wow.
So I was like, whoa, okay. Wow. So I found this store that had all of these products that we needed. And we were like, okay, this is cool. It's a American manufacturer. We can support American made products that ship to our door. And then they also had a referral portion. And we're like, we're going to buy this stuff anyway. Let's tell our friends about it and see what happens. So the Break Free Project was born. We were called the Hot Mess Success back then because we were, there was a whole lot. We've learned a lot and come a long way. But we started telling other people about this store. And then we built this whole organization of people who now our whole mission is breaking people free. So I was able to break free from healthcare. I've been doing this full time since 2019. We have other investments, but this is my main career. And I get to do education and marketing for the largest online wellness store, help people with affordable solutions. A lot of the information that I share on my social medias comes from the research and development and the science side of this store. Everything just makes so much sense. So I learn all of this stuff and then I regurgitate. That's like what leads me to go down these paths. And so to, join the Break Free Project, you can either just shop with us and be a happy shopper and get American made products for your home, get them shipped to your door, support. We talked a lot about RFK at our last leadership event. We're like super patriots. And then there's also an income opportunity if you want to join and partner with us and tell your friends about the store. And our whole thing is to help people break free of whatever you're living in, whether you're living in debt or you're living in sickness or you're living in disbelief of yourself. We band together, we work together. I do business mentorship. That's a huge part of what I do. I teach people how to use social media. I pour belief into them until they believe in themselves. And then, we turn around and we just keep rinse and repeating with people. And it's these same people are the ones that we're doing baptisms when we go to our retreats. Our team, like we're #ButGod is where because none of this would be possible without him. And none of us would be able to have the lives that we have here. And I get to do this instead of going to a hospital. So all of that information, if you want any information, you can join my email list. And I pop out emails all the time. You message me on social media, Instagram.
Okay. All right. So if people want to, I know it's a hashtag. So is that right? This is the Break Free Project, right? Mm-hmm. It's got the on the front. Okay. Just want to make sure because I've got that right there. So it's a hashtag. So if you use hashtags to search on social media, you can find lots of information there. So, but in order to get connected with that, people just need to join your email list. And they do that at the Uncensored Nurse. So check that out. I think Nixie said he already signed up. I know I signed up. So in the email list, all that, there's a private lounge area where you can get in there, and that's all free. And then you can get more information that way. So, all right. All right. We've got 3 more minutes. Okay.
We did it.
So here is how we usually end this. I call it the 30-second wrap up. And so tell us the most important takeaway that you want everybody who's watching today, that you want them to take away, want them to remember from this interview with you in 30 seconds.
Ooh, this is a good question.
And if you go over a little bit, that's okay.
So my biggest thing always is question everything. Yeah. That's always been, don't take, and even things that I say, go research it for yourself. Part of being a nurse is teaching people to have informed consent. And that is on every aspect of your life. So go research things, go look at things, go dive into information. I have conversations all the time and I'm like, go look at it for yourself. There's Google and there's ChatGPT and there's all these different avenues for you to go research and go research things. That's how I started. Go research things that are important to you. And when you lean into the things that you want to know more about, it's gonna create this web, and then you just will naturally move into other pieces. And just go research it for yourself. Go ask questions, and God will lead you to where you need to go. One day I was like, wait a second, I need to pull out my camera roll, and I got to look at these vaccine records and I have questions. And it just, because I was pulled to go look at that. There's never a coincidence. Yeah. Nothing's a coincidence. You just need to be your own advocate and stand up for what you think is correct in your own soul, because you'll know if something's right or wrong. Yes. And you'll be able to, you'll feel so much better about yourself if you advocate for yourself, advocate for your family, and do the research so you have it to back up. So you have it as in there when you get rebutted by anyone.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. All right, so people can find you at The Uncensored Nurse right there. She is also on YouTube and not YouTube, on Facebook and Instagram under Amanda Wilcox. And I think that on Instagram, people need to look up The Uncensored Nurse and they can find you. Okay, so
that's easier.
Yeah, I think that's how I found you. I looked up your name first and I wasn't finding you, but then when I put Uncensored Nurse, it showed right up. So
you'll find my sister-in-law. Her name is also Amanda.
There's probably lots of Amanda Wilcoxes perhaps. So let me ask you a question. I would like to, a lot of times I end by praying over the person. Would you mind if can I pray for you? Yeah, and then after that, we will say goodbye. So Lord God, I just lift up my friend Amanda. Lord, thank you so much for drawing her to you the way that you have, Lord. Thank you for her beautiful family and for her beautiful spirit, Lord God, and the way you are teaching her, and she is growing in you, and she obviously is excited about you, Lord. And so I pray blessings upon Amanda and her husband and her daughter and her just all of the endeavors, everything that they're doing, the businesses, Lord, and just taking control of their health, Lord. I pray abundant blessings upon them, Lord God, that you would continue drawing them to you and just blessing them so abundantly according to your riches and glory in Christ Jesus, Lord God. And we just thank you so much for her beautiful spirit. Lord God, in your holy name I pray. Amen. Amen. All right, sister. Well, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. I've enjoyed this so much. So hopefully we'll have you on again sometime. And thank you to everybody who is here today, everybody commenting. I think we've gotten taking care of everybody's comments. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and hang up. We're at 1 hour and 31 minutes. So I hope to see everybody on Tuesday. Honestly, I don't have any idea what I'm going to talk about on Tuesday yet. I have some idea. I was going to maybe start Revelation, but now I think God's telling me to do something else. So I'm just going to keep you in suspense and you'll find out on Tuesday. So, all right, guys, love you with the love of Christ, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for watching Join Hands with Evan. I'm Blue Tap. If you have gotten anything at all from this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also like and share this video. That really helps get this content out to more people. And please leave some comments. I'd really love to hear from you and get to know you better. If you're interested in keeping up with me and my writings, please sign up for my free email list by texting BLUE, B-L-U-E, to 33777. And we'll get you all connected. God bless you richly, and I love you with the love of Christ. Read My Demon, My Jesus, Blue's memoir about her suicide, out-of-body death experience, and her miraculous healing. Companion workbook, Chaos Calmed, is a guide to Christian meditative prayer and spiritual healing. Join Hands with Heaven, 6 prophetic visions, 1 event, 1 message. All 3 books available on Amazon.com.